we grow. Using procurement, program and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal.
and Coach Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And today, folks, we're going to have an amazing show. We're going to talk about corporation.
Yes. Yes. I
and
cannot tell you how many people told me last year. They told me to get a incorporate, but I don't know why.
So today, my co-host and I, we are going to enlighten you entrepreneurs on the prospect or the benefits or the disadvantages of having a corporation. Whichever way it works for you guys, you'll figure it out as we go along. But it's going to be a great show. You guys are going to have your questions. Make sure you contact us through LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, or any other platform that you're connected to that can reach out to us. So we want to hear from you guys. So co-host, how are you doing today?
I am good. It's been this week went so fast.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know it was a holiday, and then you looked up and it was Friday. It's like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, okay. So we're in what is the second week or no, the third week of January,
Yes.
and it's just about done.
It's
January's almost
crazy.
so whew.
It is crazy, man. I couldn't even believe yesterday was Thursday. I'm going, wait a second. Yesterday was like Tuesday or something, but it was Thursday.
It was Thursday, and the way I know that what it is because there's usually a show that's
Yeah.
happening, and so those are my that's what tells me what I'm doing during the week and whether I'm at a Monday or I'm at a Friday on Thursday.
You know, it's amazing how our life is right now, where we have to kind of flag certain point in terms of milestones, right?
Yes.
So if it's not a certain show that's coming on, we don't know what day of the week it is.
Just down there in there, but I do know I have had a lot of clients. It's the first quarter of the year, so that means tax season is like right here, and
Yeah,
everybody, of course, panics at this
yeah.
time, trying to get ready. But I am going to commend them on getting ready early. I am that
Right.
at least it's not March and they're coming to me. It is actually January, and I and I
Exactly.
and I taught so many people last year, Gilbert, that most of them have done this themselves that I just need
Yes.
to review.
Yes, yes, yes. That is so true, man. It's unbelievable.
Y
Unbelievable.
Yes,
And see, that's why they need us as business coaches because, we provide them that extra push, that extra support, extra motivation, and that extra tweak to whatever their program or platform is. So it helps them to get that uh, confidence
yes,
confidence in what they're doing and feeling that, hey, I'm where I'm supposed to be. So that's why
yes,
business coaches, guys, are very important. And we're not just talking about anyone who call themselves a coach. We're talking about folks who have years of knowledge, experience, and you've had your trials and tribulations over the years trying to work with small businesses. And it's just a joy when we get to what we do to impart our knowledge in small
yes.
businesses. So yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it actually is, and it's just your coach is that person that even if we're not uh we're your accountability partner, and it's so important to have an accountability partner,
Yes.
someone that's going to help walk you through and stay on top of you to make
Hmm.
sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, so
And those of you who are tuning in, just remember you can go to the business zone, and it's the business zone at crystalandgilbert.com. You can go there live in order to check us out live, and you can put your questions, comments, whatever in the chat, or you could just go to YouTube and you'll see our banner or background there, and you can just click the live button and it will take you live to our show. You guys can participate, ask questions, do whatever you need to do. Click the like button, click the subscribe button, whatever you need to do. And just so you guys know, coming up in the latter part of this month, we're going to have options for you guys. So you guys could pay a certain subscription, a small subscription on a monthly basis, and you get great materials to run your business. So we believe in helping businesses. We believe in making sure that it's affordable to you. We know small businesses usually don't have a budget, which they should, but they
Right.
don't have a budget. They don't have money. So we try to make it very, very affordable to you guys. So,
Exactly. And I think so you guys want to stay tuned and you really truly want to go over and subscribe. You can subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. You can go to our website, which is the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. You can go there.com and you can actually watch it live from there, but you can subscribe to our channel there, and you can go to Facebook and subscribe to our channel, because you really want to do this, because Gilbert and I in the next quarter, hey Commune, we're going to have a little membership where we do a little coaching with you one-on-one.
yeah,
And so you want to do that, if because that's what takes you to that next level. Is
yes,
a coach can take you to help you get to that next level, keep you
exactly.
on track, help you see things that you don't normally see,
Yes,
right, Gilbert?
yes.
um I was coaching a young lady yesterday, and I was asking yeah, she was, and I love this. I am asking them, and they're all excited about their business, and they're telling me all of the bells and whistles, and then I go, so how you making money? And they went, huh? How you
they,
making money?
they never thought about that part. Never thought about that part.
Yeah, what's the business model? How, I mean, I love all that other stuff, but how you making money?
Yeah. Just remember, guys, just remember this. A lot of entrepreneurs get into the business. They want to be their own boss, run their own business, but they forget the principal reason why they enter into business. The principal reason, I'm going to say it twice for you guys, just so you don't forget. The principal reason you get into business is because you saw a pain in the marketplace that you believe you can solve better than your competitors. Okay? You saw a pain in the marketplace that you can solve much better than your competitors. And that's why you enter that marketplace to solve that pain, to help those customers to feel better and elevate themselves, bring some value to them. That's why you start a business. And in the process of you solving that pain, you got to make some money. You gotta make some money, and don't think you're coming into this business to break even. That's not what this is all about. If that's
No.
if that's your purpose, then you don't need to start a business. You gotta come into this business to make money and elevate yourself and your family so that you can feel like, hey, I don't need to do a 9 to 5 job. Me being an entrepreneur is going to bring wealth for my family. It's going to bring long time wealth for your
Yeah,
family. So that's how you want to
exactly.
do it.
Exactly. And if it's not about that, then you should have stayed. You really need to contemplate going back and working for someone, because it's not as it's what did they I saw a meme on Facebook the other day. It says entrepreneurship is not for the weak.
That's right. That's right. I like that. I like that.
It
I
ain't for the
like
weak.
that. I like
Yeah,
that.
boy. So it has some headaches to go with it, some trials and tribulations. And let me tell you, I was talking to several of my clients this week. We're all getting ready, they're all getting ready for taxes. that first quarter, oh my God, this first quarter, man, because you really haven't made the kind of money you needed to make in December. And
Yeah,
in January, February, March is tax season and taxes are coming.
yeah.
And January is like, oh my God, it's like all the money is pouring out.
Oh
Hello,
man.
Andrea from Vegas. We glad to have you.
Hey Andrea, how are you
Andrea.
doing? Andrea is one of my clients from Vegas.
Okay. Hi, Andrea.
She is an amazing entrepreneur, man. She run an electrical company. You know,
Oh.
tell you about a female entrepreneur that was really setting a trend, setting a pace, and others are trying to follow in her footsteps, but they can't make it. That's
Hmm.
Andrea for you. She's amazing, man.
Oh, well,
Amazing.
hello, Andrea. Nice to meet you. Glad you're tuning in. And when Gilbert actually pats you on the back, man, I know you doing some good stuff, boy. If
Oh yes.
he's your cheerleader.
Oh yes. Andrea has made me proud a lot of times, man. She has she's bid on contracts and she's won contracts for her company, and she's just doing amazing. As a matter of fact, last year she was the small business of the year for the SBA. The
Oh,
SBA.
really? Well,
Yes.
congratulations.
Oh yes. So she is very dear and close to my heart, man. As an entrepreneur, she's phenomenal. So
Well, you think we
thanks,
can get her
Andrea.
on the show? Because
Oh yes, oh
yeah,
yes,
the
Andrea.
women.
We would love to have you on the show, Andrea. And as a matter of fact, Women's Business Month, that's in March, right?
March. Uh-huh.
So, Andrea, if you're available in March, we'd love to have you on the show so you can tell us and the world about your company, how you've been doing amazing work there in Vegas. Okay?
Yeah, because we always, there are a number of women that have gotten their certifications, and and that's just like our topic today. Far
Yeah.
as what corporate entity is best for your company,
Yes.
because so many of them don't. We talk about it, but they
Yeah.
don't know what they're supposed to do with it once they get it. Yeah, they all sign up.
Yeah.
And okay, so now what? What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to? So, Andrea, we would love for you to come on and give us. And so I think she said yes. Sounds
Yes.
great. So we'll get that information to you.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Yes. Can't wait to have you on, Andrea. This is amazing.
yeah, each one help one. That's what I say.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And
I wish.
as most of you guys know here on the Business Zone, what we do is we try to build a community of small businesses, a community of small businesses, because we want to make sure that once we build your capacity, build you up, make sure you're contract ready, your business ready, your loan ready, and even nonprofit ready if you want to go in that direction, then when we put you out there in front of contract providers, you guys can perform at optimum level. We don't have to worry about you performing in front of a contracting officer because we know you've got what it takes because we've coached you, we've trained you, we've provided you all the resources you need. So that's what we're doing here at the Business Zone.
And
Oh,
then after that, Gilbert, all we need to do is just sit back and smile like proud
yeah,
parents
for
as you
parents, man.
as everybody goes out there and just kills it. So that is makes it all worthwhile for us doing what we do when we
Right.
see that you are doing so well. So yes, we and that's what we want. And as business coaches, that's how we conduct our business. So
For sure. And Andrea is also telling us that she is the chairperson of the Nevada Forum of WeBank. WeBank is a women-owned business enterprise. It's a network, a consortium of women-owned businesses that are certified to perform services within their industry. So, Andrea, much respect to you for that. Appreciate that. And thank you for being the chairperson of the Nevada Forum of WeBank. Thank you. Thank you.
awesome, awesome. And feeding in on Facebook, we have Veronica Elizabeth Springer. Today is her birthday. Happy
All
birthday to
right.
you. Happy
Happy
birthday, Veronica.
birthday, Veronica. How you doing, Veronica? Veronica is one of our longtime participant also, one of our small businesses that we coach and guide as well. So much respect to you, Veronica. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, so glad. Enjoy that day, girl. Enjoy your birthday, and hope you're celebrating for the entire month. Um, how was your week, Gilbert? Anything great
Oh,
happen? Anything other than just nose at the grind?
well, I've just been grinding away, man, helping small businesses. I have my client there in Texas that I've been doing a lot of work for, a lot of labor compliance and certified payroll work for. So I've been, pretty busy trying to help them, as well as many other small business owners who are seeking certifications in the SBA program, or they're seeking their DBE certification with Metro or any of the other public work agencies out there. So that's what I've been doing all week, man, and it's keeping me busy. It's keeping me
All
busy.
righty. Well, that's good.
How
We want
about
to.
you? How about you, Coles? What you
Woo,
been doing?
let's see. Mine was I've just had back-to-back clients. I mean, I got I had to go in and readjust my scheduler so I at least get 30 minutes in between the clients so I
Wow.
could leave my seat and go get some water or refresh my tea or whatever I'm drinking. I barely had time for lunch. My calendar was a nightmare this week, and it's a nightmare next week.
Man, you are that superwoman that I talk about all the time, man. You are a superwoman co-host. You're
Well,
phenomenal.
I think our last show, and in February and March, I want hopefully we should have some guests. But our last show of this month, we're going to do networking, because this is
Okay.
how I got to this place, is effective networking, man.
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
too, right?
yeah,
Effective
yeah,
networking. We need all this other part. We need the
yeah.
structure, vision. We talked about last.
I get
Really
you.
vast network in
Yep.
order to take you through and be able to reach out to the people that you need to reach to. And
I
and
also I also would like to share, co-host, with my listeners here that I'm also the procurement chairman for the Hispanic Coalition of Small Business in the Inland Empire, and we're doing some great things. We're working with the mayor in the city of San Bernardino, and we're working with other government officials to get these businesses ready and put them in front of procurement officers so they can start going after procurement opportunities. So, we're using our leverage to help as many small businesses as we can. And just so you guys know, folks, Coach Crystal and we're not business as usual. We're not like many of the chambers or many of the trade associations out there who just, we get together, we do parties, just to do these little meet and greet activity. No, that's not what we do. If we're not involved in a program that produces results to help you guys get contracts or become certified or something to that effect, we don't want to be a part of it. So, those little social gatherings that you see with many of these chambers and trade, that's not us. That's not what we do. And once we see that that's what's going on, because I personally believe that a chamber is supposed to help their members gain access to opportunities, get either contracts or connect them with customers. If that's not happening, then to me, those chambers are not doing what they're supposed to do.
right, and I think every organization here, especially in today, because our minority businesses, we are usually lacking anyway in the resources and the capital to really run our business. But if you have a solid information and education behind you, you can make up what you don't have in capital or external capital in actually running the business the way it's supposed to be ran, right? And
Yeah,
that's my ultimate goal, is to make sure you have all the tools
yeah,
that you need, that you can go out there and by the time you do need real capital, your
yes.
business is so solid
Hmm.
that they can't turn you down. But
That's
in the
right.
beginning, they can turn you down if you are not business ready or bank loan ready or
Yeah,
contract ready. They can, because
exactly.
they're going to find the nick in the armor,
Right. And
right?
just remember, contract providers and lenders, their primary focus, their primary goal is to turn down small businesses, to tell you guys no. They're always about telling you no. So your job is to put yourself in a position that they don't ever tell you no. And even if they say no, you want to prove them wrong and demonstrate to them that your company is worthy of getting those contracts and getting a line of credit to run that business. Okay. That's what we're about here at the Business Zone.
Right. All righty. So let's jump on into this, Gilbert, and let's talk about your corporate entity, because I think it's very important, and it's at the beginning of the year. So this is a good time to have this conversation,
Oh,
because
yes.
you have enough time before you have to, you have enough time to get it in place, and to make sure that you understand what you're doing, and how it actually benefits your business. Most of us, when we start out as sole proprietors,
Yes.
and um there's some large limitations to being a sole proprietor, especially
Yeah.
from the legality place. And
Hmm.
then generally someone comes and says, hey, you guys need to not be a sole proprietor, you need to go get incorporated. So the next step from that was, generally, we head right on over to an LLC, and we don't know why we're doing it, we just know somebody told us to do it.
And we on the Business Zone, folks, we want to caution you guys from listening to what we call street corner consultants. Those people who are out there telling you, yes, you can get a corporation, or no, you need to get an LLC. And they have no credentials whatsoever. But they're telling you what you should. They're not even a business owner, but they're telling you what you should have and what you shouldn't have. So be careful, guys. Do not listen to those street corner consultants. You want to listen to official business coaches like Coach Crystal and myself and others, and just to make sure you're doing the right thing for your business.
Exactly. So you want to talk to them first about the pitfalls of being, or the pros and the cons of being a sole proprietor, and then we can jump on into a little bit of the LLC, and then uh head on into the big boys.
The big boys. Well, yes, we could talk about the pitfall of the positive and the negative toward being a sole proprietor. So, as a sole proprietor, sole proprietorship is the easiest business formation to do, the easiest and the least expensive. So, here in Los Angeles County, to register your business as a sole proprietorship, it only costs $26. $26, and if you need an extra copy of the DBA, or the fictitious business name, then you pay like an extra $5, and you can take it up to $31. But when you register your business as a sole proprietorship, it's not administratively burdensome. There's not a lot of paperwork that you need to generate. All you need to do is go to the county site, the county, and most regions in which you operate, it's usually the county where you have to go to register your business as a sole proprietorship. Very rarely do you go to the city to do that. There's a county website, like in Los Angeles. There's a website that you go to at the county, and you can just go to Google and type, LA County website for sole proprietorship. Bam, and it will pop right up, and you can go there and register. I think it's LA Vote that org. I think
Okay.
LAvote.org. So when you go to that site and you register your sole proprietorship, it's going to ask you some basic questions: who's the owner, where you live, where you're located, that type of thing, the type of business or industry you're in. And those are just some basic information. But to do that, once you register and you pay the $26, then you have 30 days after you register to publish or publish the business in a newspaper. So you got to publish it in the newspaper for 30 days straight, okay, or a month. And that could cost you anywhere from $40 to $120, depending on the publication you're going to. But you want to make sure you pick a prominent newspaper to register, to publish it in. And when you go to register at the county, they'll give you a list of prominent newspapers that you can publish it in. The reason you're publishing your sole proprietorship is to let the public know that, let's say your company is called Buchanan and Associates. So you're telling the public that, hey, my new entity is called Buchanan and Associates. It's a sole proprietorship, and I'm going to be conducting business under that name. That's my assumed name, right? That's my
Mm-hmm.
fictitious business name. And from this point forward, I'm going to be authorized to take money from the public to provide service or a product. You have to register and publish it, guys. If you don't do that, then you're doing something illegal. You got to let the public know you're authorized to take money from them to provide a service or a product.
Okay. So there you go. But now with your sole proprietorship, what happens is you really are not protecting your assets. You're kind
Right.
of just out there all on your own. So in Los Angeles or in the state of California, we live in a pretty litigious state.
Yeah.
And so if something that is not deliberate, but it happens. We're human, so therefore we make mistakes, right?
Yes.
So what happens is we make a mistake. We happen to run across that one particular client
Yeah.
who is just that person, that
Mm-hmm.
he's just that guy or
Oh
gal,
yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
and now they're ready to sue you. And now you've worked hard for your assets, your home, your car, whatever it is, your stock portfolio, whatever it is that is monetarily you have saved for your family, and now someone is looking to sue you, and so you now are kind of opened yourself up to litigation. And so one of the reasons, especially, I always tell my clients, and Gilbert, you tell me if you do the same. So I always tell my clients, if you're in a business where you're feeding people, you're taking care of children, you're taking care of seniors, and you got anything to do with animals, you need to be protected.
Oh yeah. That is so true. And even if you're not dealing with that population, just the fact that you're in business, there is always someone out there just chomping at the bit to sue somebody to think they can get some money out of you, and that's why you got to protect yourself. Now, the problem with the sole proprietorship is it doesn't protect you. That structure, that legal structure, does not protect you. So therefore, we recommend that you get insurance, get business insurance on your business. So it
Mhm.
could be general liability, and if you're providing professional services, you want to make sure you get professional liability as well. So should something go down and someone decide to sue you, and let me tell you what I mean by something go down. So let's say you're a consultant, you're providing professional services, and the service that you're administering to your client, they felt like what you gave them was inappropriate, it did not work for them, and you gave them bad information, they can try to sue you. But because you have professional liability or errors and omission insurance,
Mhm.
that will protect you from them coming and taking your house, your car, your firstborn, your wife, and everybody.
Exactly. So that is a good reason for protecting acquiring your LLC and moving away from being or a corporate entity and moving away from being a sole proprietor.
Right.
So, so now, what are the benefits of being an LLC, and what exactly does that mean and stand for?
Right. So with limited liability, LLC is a limited liability company. And what that is, it's a step above the sole proprietorship, because it's the sole proprietorship, as you know, it's single owned, it's one person who owns it. The same thing with an LLC. You can have a single person who owns an LLC as well. So when you have this LLC, it's giving you limited protection under the law. And that's why when you go to open a bank account as an LLC, some of the banks will try to get you, the business owner, to be a guarantor to that LLC, because they know that you have limited protection. So they can reach out and say, all right, I want you to be a secondary protection on this. If you're going to get a line of credit or a loan from us, we want you to do that. But you do enjoy certain protection with your LLC, and which could be from legal ramifications and the way in which you operate. So that's one way in which you can look at that.
Okay. Awesome. 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 So now when you do and this is the thing. So I had a client the other day and she was asking, so I'm going to do an LLC on 3 different companies. And I'm like, wait, what? So I don't know if someone had given her that advice, that she needed an LLC for every company that she had. Is that true or false, Gilbert?
Well, first of all, as a business owner just starting out, you shouldn't be running multiple business. Running one business is strenuous enough, much less running 3 businesses. That is crazy, guys. That is crazy. And just so you know, when you register an LLC with the Secretary of State, that's the California Secretary of State, and any state you're in, you go to the Secretary of State of that state to register your LLC. The fee alone in California to register is $70, right? But you have an annual fee that you do pay, which is $800. So the initial fee is $70, but the annual is $800. So now think about it. You having 3 LLCs. Now you got 2,100 you got to come up with as a small business who probably isn't making a lot of sales. So now you can see how you're putting yourself at a disadvantage, right? So that's the first thing you want to think about, first and foremost, the cost of maintaining that LLC structure. And secondly, you want to look at what type of protections you have under that LLC and who is it covering? What is it covering in the business? Those are things you want to look at. So be conscious, guys. Be conscious and mindful of these types of things. Now, as Coach Crystal said, there's always street corner consultants out there telling you what you should do, and they have no clue about how LLCs work or anything to that effect. Don't listen to them, guys. Do not listen to those street corner consultants. Some of those street corner consultants could be your own friends or family members. They know nothing about running a business. So
Right,
keep that in
exactly.
mind.
So you don't need to have multiple LLCs. You could
No.
have DBAs operating under what the primary LLC, and that
Yes.
happens a lot, especially in the real estate space.
Yes.
And there are property owners, and they own a number of buildings, so they may have DBAs operating on them, but you do not have to have multiple
No.
LLCs for each DBA that you want to operate. So
No, you don't need to have. That's a waste of money to register each LLC, paying $800 every year for that. Just have the one LLC and then have some DBAs underneath that. The DBA is only $26, guys. So
right.
save
There
yourself
you
some
go.
money.
Save yourself some money. And then this is another fallacy that the $800 is going strictly to the state of California. And I don't want to give the state of California my $800. That is actually your self-employment tax, guys.
Yes, yes, yes.
And that is providing you with the deductions that you would normally get if you were actually working for an employee. So
Yes.
you're paying your FICA and your FUTA, which is your unemployment, your Social Security, and your
Right.
Medi-Cal. And these are all for Medicare. They're all for when you turn 65 and you've been working as a solo player out there for a long time, and you go to apply for Social Security and they say, excuse me, you don't have any, you did not meet the 40 quarters, which is basically approximately about 10 years of employment taxes.
Right, right, right.
And so now you're like, what? Wait, and I can't work and I need health insurance. So that $800 is not for the state of California. That is for you. It's your self-employment tax.
I think you should repeat that to them, co-host. I think you
You
should
think
repeat it,
so?
yes, so that they
Okay.
can at least remember what you're saying.
Right. So that is not for the state of California. You're just not handing the state of California money. It is for you. It is you're paying into your Social Security, and you're paying into your Medicare. So when you turn 65, you will be able to take care of yourself, and you will be able to apply for your Medicare. You have to have 40 quarters into the system to be eligible for that when it's come retirement. Now, retirement may take place at 65, or you can wait till you're 70, but this is preparing for that time frame. So it's not just handing, and I literally had that conversation. So that's why I said it. It is not just handing money to the state of California just because.
This is so amazing, that folks even think that way. And then you've got, like I say, you got those street corner consultants out there acting like they're experts on these topics, misinforming entrepreneurs. So yes, you guys got to listen to Coach Crystal, man. She knows what she's
Right.
talking about.
And Gregory Sneed, Mr. Gregory Sneed is tuned in to us. Thank you, Mr. Gregory.
Our our
Uh
our, our field correspondent.
yeah. So the actual retirement is 67 years old, 67 now, but however, you can apply for your benefits at the age of 65, especially your health care, your Medicare at
Yeah.
65. You can do that. In fact, they're going to reach out to you before you even think about reaching out to them. They are on it 6 months before you turn 65, but actually retirement. And most of us are not thinking retirement. I mean, you're in the fourth quarter, but you're not dead.
Yeah.
So maybe 70, 75. I mean, look at our government. They are in their late 70s, 80s still working. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
as long as your health is there, you don't have to retire at several Linda Sam. Hello, Linda. Linda told me she got 2 years after that. Don't nobody ask her to do nothing that relates to work, because her answer is no.
No.
No. She ain't retiring. She retiring at 65. But anyway, that is why you don't have multiple LLCs, and which is a limited liability corporation. You have limited liability partners, partnerships, and things like that. But you don't have to have multiple. You can have DBAs under it.
Right.
Now we can get to the big boys.
Right. Well, before we do that, I want to do a little clarification. Well, not a clarification, just a little additional information on the LLCs.
Okay.
Just remember this, guys. When you form an LLC, the LLC is not a structure that is recognized by the IRS, because it's not formed under the IRS, not formed under the federal entity. It's formed only under your state. This is only recognized by the state, whatever state you're in. So an LLC is a business structure that is allowed by state statute. So your state will allow that, and multiple other state will allow it. So therefore, they have different requirements for each LLC. So if you're listening to this show and you're in a different state, just make sure you check with your state office, and which will be the Secretary of State in your state, to find out what the rules and the guidelines are for an LLC. The regulations are different in each state, but this structure is not recognized by the IRS, because when you file a limited liability company or LLC, you have to pick a structure. You have to pick which structure you want to operate under. Do I want to operate as a sole under a sole proprietorship umbrella? Do I want to operate under a C corp or an S corp? You see what I mean? So keep that in mind also, and that's why it is so dangerous when outside consultants, so-called consultants, tell you guys, oh, an LLC will do this and an LLC will do that, and yeah, you can get protection under this. Things have been much more restrictive on the LLCs, guys. So you want to check with the requirements. You want to check with the bank, check with the state, because when banks are registering your LLC, they're going to ask you for a whole lot of stuff.
Okay, there you go. Greg says some might get a surprise when filing for their Medicare that there is retirement money from previous employers sitting to be claimed. So
Yeah,
if you actually have worked for someone in the past, there will be money from them for. And again, that's a lot of times how you made up those 40 quarters is
yeah,
from your previous, and that goes all the way back to when you were um when you were a kid. I mean,
yeah.
sooner when you started working, whatever that age is, 14, 15, 16,
Mm-hmm.
you were putting money into toward your retirement at that time. uh
Yes.
Linda, I believe you still can withdraw. This depends on how much. So we'll have to get a Medicare specialist on to give you that information.
So,
All right.
so I think you should reiterate to them, co-hosts, that 40 quarters, that's what you need to pay into when you're an entrepreneur, and whether you pick the sole prop, the LLCs, C corp, S corp format, you need to pay into the tax system for 40 quarters. 40 quarters in order to get your benefit when you're older.
Yes, exactly. Which is equivalent to literally 10 years of working. So if you work your 10 years or 15 years or 20 years prior to becoming um a business owner, a self-employed business owner, then you probably have already paid into that. But you still want to continue that because you're just still starting your business. So this is what happens with your self-employment tax. So
Yeah,
there
yeah.
you have it. Okay, so just letting you guys know.
Oh man. See, just so you guys know, you may just browsing and navigating through the internet right now, and you came across this channel. You go, wait, what are these people? What are they talking about? This is the Business Zone, and you're listening to Coach Crystal, and Coach Gilbert, and that's what we do. We help small businesses every week from 3 to 4:30 every Friday on the same channel, the same station, the same website, guys.
Right.
Check check us out.
Waiting for you to come to learn some stuff. Yes, 40 quarters is the minimum. We could actually have some maximums. But I will tell you, you know, um, mm, even when you are an employee, you don't have a clue as to what's happening behind the scenes. You just know, hey, I got my paycheck stub. They took some money out. And I don't understand why I didn't get all my whole money. As a child would say, oh, I didn't get my whole money. So that's because they know that you may not be that saving type of person. And come to that retirement age, they may have a problem. So they're preempting that so you can take care of yourself. So we just want you to know. All right.
so so make sure, guys, if you're an entrepreneur, you make sure you put in the time. You got to put in the time in order to get that benefit at your later date.
Yes, you got to put the time in. All righty. So I think we've covered that. And Greg says the self-employment tax is a monster. We will
Yes, it
be talking
is.
about when all of these are due. I might throw that in next week as well, because it is tax season. But it's just a necessary evil, Greg. It's a
Yeah,
necessary evil.
yeah. It's one of those things, man.
Okay, so we're now ready to go into the next two entities, which is your S corp and your C corp.
Oh yes, your S corp and your C corp.
Oh, one thing on the LLC, for as far as your taxes go, when you have registered and signed your entity as an LLC, you are going to when you go to pay your taxes, you're going to your tax person is going to prepare a Schedule C, and that's going to take the deductions from your gross profits, and then you're going to have the net profit. The net profit is actually what you're going to be paying taxes on, and whatever you've withdrawn from the business at that time. So you actually get taxed on that. But in the midst of all of that, throughout the year as an LLC, we highly recommend, if your earnings are over, or if your tax refund the previous year was over $1,000, then you really should have your CPA or your tax preparer help you set up your quarterly taxes so that you can be paying into the income tax system. Sorry, schedules plus your taxes plus the Schedule E SE. Sorry, Greg. Thanks. So you want to make sure you're paying into the system throughout the year so that you don't get hit with a large payment at the end of the in the next year. I have quite a few clients. They did extremely well, and they have some surprises that's going to take place in 2023. Rah rah for them doing well, but oh wow. I hope you have enough deductions.
Excellent, excellent. So you said the next structures are
Okay, so our next structures are obviously are your the IRS is a robber. Yeah, the IRS is a robber. The next structure is, of course,
the
your S
S
corp
corp and the C
or
corp,
and the
right?
C corp. So
Okay.
as I pull this up, Gilbert, you can get starting with that.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start out with the C corp. There's a big difference between the S and the C. So
Okay.
we'll start out with the C and then build it up as we go along. Now the C corp is like it's like the corporation structure because that's the corporate structure that most organizations use. Most organizations, the bigger organizations, they tend to use a C corp. And what this does, this structure, it acts as most people say that you're taxed twice on your income because
Mm-hmm.
you pay taxes on the income that comes into the business, and as
Mm-hmm.
a shareholder, the shareholder, you pay taxes as well on the income you receive from the business. Now with a C corporation, you pay taxes. Let me see. You pay taxes based on the fact that you're an owner as well as a shareholder. Now, there are no restrictions as to the number of shareholders that you can have in a C corporation. You can have unlimited shareholders in the corporation. And that is part of the reason why most of the larger businesses are able to sell shares to the public. When they have an IPO and they go public, they can sell shares to like Google and Yahoo and all of those, and they're selling shares to the general public. So with a C corp, you can do that. The other structure, you can't really do that. Um, you usually have a board of directors with your C corporation, and there's so many other things I want to talk about, but I want to talk about the shares and the stocks first. So the owners, they may get an opportunity to purchase stocks that they call preferred stock. There are two types of stocks that are offered under the C Corporation umbrella. You got common stocks and you got preferred stocks. Common stocks are the lowest form of taxes. Those are the least expensive format. So you may end up having to pay $10 a share or $5 a share. Now, the 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 way in which that amount is agreed to, it goes through your bylaws. When you first form your corporation, you have your bylaws, you have your board resolution, and at that initial meeting is when the board come together and they vote and determine how much they're going to charge per share for these stocks. So as a corporation, you need to know that a lot of small businesses, they have corporations that decide to sell shares, right? And it wasn't discussed in their initial meeting how much they're going to sell the shares for. They just arbitrarily say, hey, I'm selling shares for $100. Now, I just want you to know this. If you're selling common stock for $100, you have to sell that for the same price to everybody. You can't sell you can't sell shares for $100 to some people, and then to other people you're selling it for $200 a share. Can't do that. That's a criminal act. You can go to prison. Another thing that you need to know is when you're operating a C corporation, you're now being monitored and regulated by the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission. That's a federal entity. They're monitoring you. And if they can decide to audit your books if they want, and if they see any irregularities, they can give you a fine, or, you can spend some jail time if necessary. So going back to the stocks, we're talking two levels of stocks. You got common stock, preferred stock. Preferred stock costs a lot more, and those are folks who have, it's like VIP shares, right? Mm-hmm. So when you have your preferred stock, those guys pay a little bit more, and they get a lot more benefit out of being a shareholder in the company. Mm-hmm. What you cannot do is charge someone who is purchasing common stock the same price that you're selling your preferred stock for. Now, Facebook did that many years ago. They did that, and they got in trouble with the SEC. And they pay a large fine because the owner of Facebook was selling common stock at the price of preferred stock. So they got slapped on the hand, and they learned not to do that again. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Now, as a preferred stock, as a corp, C corp, there's no restrictions regarding citizenship or residency. You could be anybody, and you can purchase stocks from as a C corp.
Yeah.
And now let's talk about the S corp. Now, the S corp is a little different than the C corp, and when you're forming these corporations, you look at them in three different types of ways. You look at them how they're taxed. That's one form. The second one is how it's owned, who owns it, how many people can have ownership in it. And the third one is the shares, how the shares work. So that's usually the three ways in which you look at a corporation when you're buying. Now, when you're selecting whether you want a corporation or a sole proprietorship or an LLC, the reason you choose one over the other is because of your exposure to liability and how you're taxed. Those are the two ways in which you make those decisions. How you're taxed and what type of benefit you can get from being taxed that way or being protected that way. So people who are starting corporation or trying to elevate to corporation status, those are the deciding factors that help them to make that decision. How the shares work, how it's owned, and also how it's taxed. For the S corp, it's kind of similar. Now, the S corporation, they don't pay taxes. The corporation itself doesn't pay taxes. But what happened is the owner is the one who pays taxes. The owner who receives income in the company, they're the ones who pay taxes. And that's why when you're forming an S corp, your accountant will ask you, how do you want to be taxed? Do you want to be taxed as a sole proprietor? Do you want to be taxed as an LLC? Do you want to be taxed as a corporation? You make that decision right there. So that's how it works. Now, your tax rate on the S corp is going to be a little higher than the regular C corp, because if you chose to be taxed as a sole prop or as an LLC, those structures usually pay about 30% in taxes. It's a burden. It's a burden, guys. You know, when you have I remember many years ago, man, when I was paying my taxes at the end of the year, and I was writing a check to the IRS for $22,000. I hated it. I'm going, what? What? $22,000, guys. I was writing a check to the IRS as taxes in a sole proprietorship. So, you know, those are things you want to look at as well. So with the S corp being charged taxes under the owner and under the owner's statute, that can be a problem for you. Also, with an S corp, you're limited to only 100 shareholders. You cannot have more than 100 shareholders. And those shareholders must be U.S. citizens or residents. You can't have people, you know, from Jamaica owning shares in your S corporation, because they're not citizens, they're not residents. So keep that in mind also. And with the S corporation, you can only sell common stocks. You cannot sell preferred stocks just like the C corp does. You can only sell one type of stock, and that's common stocks. Okay, and those come with voting rights. The same thing happens with a C corp. It comes with voting rights, but then many of the preferred stockholders, they don't have to have voting rights. They don't have that.
Okay. Maintenance, which is of these entities, Gilbert, which as part of our consideration of what is the best entity for us, um, what is the maintenance on the C corps and the S corps?
So the maintenance, you guys pay an annual maintenance fee to the state in which you operate. So for the state of California, that maintenance fee that you pay to the state of California is $800 every year. You pay $800. Come March 15th every year, you pay $800. A lot of small businesses, they cringe. They cringe when that time of year comes around. Now it's January now, so you know in 2 months, you guys as a corporation, whether you're S corp, C corp, or LLC, so
Right.
those three structures have to pay that $800 to the state. Now, many other states may charge a lot less, but then just so you know, because they're charging you less for that maintenance fee, that annual maintenance fee, it doesn't mean that they won't charge you more in another area. So here's an example of that. Some states like Nevada, state of Nevada in Las Vegas, right?
Mm-hmm.
They will charge you about $400 for your maintenance fee on your LLC or your corporation, but the business license is like $400 too or more. So when you add the business license and your maintenance fee for your corporation or your LLC, you're up to like $800, $900, even $1,000. So don't be fooled because because you see the maintenance fee is lower, thinking that oh I can register my business in Nevada, or I can register in Delaware. And that's where a lot of small businesses get caught, because you think that because you're registering in another state, you don't have to pay taxes here in your state. You gotta pay. You gotta pay also. And just so you know, if you're going to certify your business, if you're going to certify as a minority business, a small business, disadvantaged business, they want to see that your company is either headquartered in that state that you're trying to certify in, or it's domiciled there. You see what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. If you're not operating in the state in which you're trying to certify, then you have to file what they call a domestic corporation or a foreign corporation. You got to file a foreign corporation registration. That costs a fee. I think it's about $100 in the state of California, $70 to $100. So
And that is something that you hear a lot of individuals that
yeah,
have heard this all along, all their lives. People incorporate in Las Vegas and in Wisconsin
and
and,
and
and,
and
and
Delaware.
Delaware to
Yeah,
avoid paying taxes here in the state of California. No, guys, if you're doing business and you are selling and receiving money from those individuals that live in the state of California, you're going to pay taxes on the state where you're generating the revenue. So
yeah,
just know
yeah,
that you do not avoid that. So understand why you're doing that. Now, if you are going to be doing business in multiple states, and Las Vegas or Nevada happens to be one of those states, and um and you have an office there and you're going to be doing business, so you're going to be paying taxes in both states. So
exactly.
because different taxes, it may not
Yeah,
be, but Nevada doesn't have a state tax, but they do have city taxes.
right, right,
And you, as Gilbert just said, you have to license your business. If you're actually doing business in that city, then you still have to pay. So there is no way of getting around that. And on top of that, these are deductions. So
hmm
business owners that are looking at cheating without paying, when it comes down to it, at the end of the year, you want to be able to write off deductions. Those are
right.
deductions. So don't look
Yes,
at them as penalties. Look at them as a deduction that will reduce your tax liability
yeah,
at the end of each year. So that's
right.
just a little key factor there, because I hear people say that all the time. And we just want you to have the right information so that you're making the right decisions. And as Gilbert says, you come to the place where you want to become a certified business owner and you want to do business with different entities, governmental entities. They're going to ask you, why is your incorporation in Delaware? Are you doing business in what's
Right,
happening here? Right.
right. Exactly. And the thing about it, guys, when you're trying to do contracts, right? When you're trying to do government contracts, there are some cities, county, or state that will not allow you to do business in their state as a prime contractor if you're not from that state. They may allow you to do business as a subcontractor, but not as a prime, because they want to make sure if they're hiring you to do the primary work on a contract, then you are local. You're within the state, and if anything, they can reach out to you and resolve any issue that come up with a project. But if you're from out of state, you can leave at any time. You can do whatever you want. So that's another reason why having your legal structure registered in that state, it's so crucial.
uh, Greg indicated that athletes have to pay state taxes for every location that they play a game.
That
I
is
didn't know
true.
that.
That
Wow.
is true. That is true. That is true. And even in business, even in business, if you conduct business in different cities, you got to get a business license in those different cities. A lot of people don't know that, and they probably skirt over it and get away. Now remember this. If you're working on a project and the project is only for a week, 3 weeks, maybe you don't need to get a license. But if it's going beyond 30 days or a year or beyond that, you have to get a license in that city. And that's why if you have a business license in the city of Los Angeles, you got to pay the city business tax. You got to pay it. You got to pay it. There's no way around it. Because one of the things they're going to ask you, do you conduct business in the city? And if you say, no, I don't conduct business in the city, then I'm going to say, sorry, I can't give you a business license in this city. So keep that in mind, guys. These are little things, little nuggets you need to know as a business owner to make you more intelligent and make you more competent as a business owner, so you can stay above your competitors at all times.
Exactly. And when an opportunity arises, you want to be prepared, not having to scramble to get prepared. And yes, you're
Exactly.
absolutely right, Greg. He said the founder of the country left Britain to reduce taxation, and that didn't work out so well. So they realized that they have to run the country on your taxes.
That's true. That is
So
true.
so there you have it. But to be knowledgeable on how to make the system work for you
Yeah.
is that's what you need. So and here's the other thing about the two entities, the S Corp and the C Corp. If you are actually a professional, like a real estate agent or a broker, really a broker, and a doctor, and that has his own practice, a medical professional that has his own practice, a law firm that has his own practice, then you actually have to establish either, I think it's a C corp, isn't it?
Yeah. C Corp.
Yeah, they have to
Yeah.
have a C corp.
Yeah, many real. If you're in real estate business, man, they won't let you do business unless you're a C corp. They're going, we don't want those little fly by night companies registering and try to do business with us. So keep
Yeah,
that in
so
mind.
keep
Now,
that
the
in mind.
the next thing I want to touch on a little bit, guys, based on each one of these structures, are the types of documents that you need to have for each one of these structures. So we talked about the C Corp, S Corp, LLC. We talked about the sole prop, but we can run it back from current status to where we started before. So since we just did the S Corp, let's talk about the types of documents you need to have in running an S Corp. And this is why a lot of small businesses, they get messed up because they're deciding on a structure. Oh, I want to run an S corp, but they don't know what documents they need to run that S corp. And that's why our platform, our digital platform that we have, that's called Small Biz Pro, is so helpful to you small businesses, because what it does, when you register in that platform, it tells you what documents you need to run that particular structure that you have. So here's an example of some of the documents you need for an S corporation. So after you register, you'll get your articles of incorporation. That's the first document you get when you register. Then the second document you need to have is your statement of information. Statement of information. Now, of course, when you get your statement of information, from the point of registering with the IRS, from the point of registering your article of incorporation with the state, you have 90 days, 90 days to register with the IRS as an S Corp, because when you're registering as a C Corp. When you initially register, you register as a C Corp. But if you need S Corporation status, you have to get permission from the IRS for that. So you have to fill out a form called the 2553. It's the IRS form 2553. That's 2553. So you go to the IRS website, you fill out that form, and you submit it to the IRS. Then the IRS will respond to you and give you permission. They'll say, yeah, you can be an S Corp, or no, you can't be an S Corp. So when you fill out that form, it's going to ask you, why do you want to be an S Corp? Why do you think it's beneficial to you? You can say, hey, I'm a single owner. And you may have other reasons why you want to be an S corp. Then the IRS will grant you that. Now remember this: if when you first register as a corporation, you never got permission from the IRS via the form 2553, you cannot claim that you're an S corp. That form, the approval from the IRS, is what tells you you're an S corp. So if you never fill that out within the first 90 days, you are a C corp. And you're going to be handled as a C corp by the IRS. So you guys need to know that. So your articles, your statement of information, then a form 2553, right? Of course, you're going to get your EIN number. You need to get that from the IRS again, irs.gov. That's where you get that. Then you want to make sure that you have your business license in the city in which you're operating, or the city in which you're doing most of your business, right? You want to get a Dun & Bradstreet number, guys. Get a Dun & Bradstreet number, because when you go to open your bank account for that business, they're going to ask you for your Dun & Bradstreet number. So you want to Make sure you get that. And you go to the letter D, the letter N, the letter B as in Bob.com, and that's where you register for your Dun & Bradstreet number. Now, another document you're going to need as an S corporation is the bylaws. You're going to need your bylaws for that. Now, some people, they go to LegalZoom or they go to Swift or they go to all these other little companies online to help them to get the documents they need, because they don't really know what documents they need. So these entities, they're relying on these entities to tell them what documentation they should have. But guess what, guys? Some of these organizations, they don't know what documents you need. So when you register, you may get your articles of incorporation, you may get your statement of information, bam, and that's it. You don't get anything else. So you're there operating thinking you're a full-fledged corporation and you're within compliance, but you're not. But when you find out, the time you find out that you're not a full-fledged corporation is when you go to get certified or to obtain government funding, when they start asking you for these documents like your bylaws. Oh, where are your bylaws? Oh, what bylaws? I don't know what that is. So now you start finding out, okay, that document is missing. Then you got to have your first board of directors meeting minutes. So when you form the corporation, you got to have a board of directors meeting minutes within the first 30 days of that, right? Then you got to have your regular board of directors meeting minutes. And then you have an annual board of directors meeting minutes at the end of the year, every year. During the first meeting, you got to have a board resolution. You got to have your board resolution, and that board resolution will make determination as to who's going to be the president, who's going to be the chairman, who's going to be the secretary, who's going to be the treasurer, those types of things. That's what happened in that meeting, and it's recorded on the board resolution. So when you go to open a bank account, they ask you as a S corp, they ask you for that board resolution. They'll do, where's your board resolution? And most small businesses say, huh? What's that? What's that document? I don't know what that means. then they send you back. They send you back. Go talk to your accountant about this, right? So you're talking to your accountant. You go, okay. They tell me I need some kind of resolution. I don't know what that means. You know, if the accountant knows what he or she is talking about, she gets, oh yeah, I need your board resolution. Here you go, and they can put one together for you. And that document needs to be signed. Needs to be signed by your officers, the board members in your company. Then you got to have your voting agreements. You got to have stock certificates, because if you have a corporation, you're going to be selling stocks, right? You're going to be issuing shares and stocks within your company, so you got to have certificates for that. So if I, Gilbert Buchanan, is one of your officers or board members in the company, and I say, hey, I need 1,000 shares. Now, you can determine if you want to sell me shares at $1 a share or $200 a share, whatever. But that's got to be established in that first meeting. All right. Excuse me. And then when I purchase those shares, then you give me the stock certificate to show that I purchased 1,000 shares. Then once I purchase those 1,000 shares, then you're going to have to document that on a ledger. That's why they call it the stock ledger. So on that ledger, it's going to say Gilbert Buchanan purchased 1,000 shares on this date, and he paid this amount for it. Then if you have shareholders, you got to have a shareholders agreement to say, as shareholder, we agreed to do these things. We have agreed to abide by these rules and all that type of thing. So those are the key documents, guys, that you need as an S corp to run your S corp efficiently. And many of you, and that's why our digital platform is so critical for you, because that digital platform breaks it down. It tells you, okay, you need this document, this is the document you need. And as a matter of fact, when you register in that platform, it shows you the documents you need, because a picture image of the documents you're going to need, and it says, you need this, upload this document, upload that document. It's over to you, co-host.
Okay. So, and Gilbert, as you were talking about the stock, and for one, you can actually sell stock from your company in order to raise money. So
Yes.
most people don't realize that when you are a corporation and you need capital, you actually can sell the stock of your provide shares to an investor, and then they can invest in your company. So a lot of times we think we got to just go to a bank in order to acquire that in order to find the capital we have, but sometimes we have capital right in our business. You of course have to have a value for the business. There has to be a valuation, and there
Right.
has to be definitely something that is of value for an investor to want to invest in. But some of you that are looking for that, also, corporations and C corps and S corps is, you are subjected to audits to make sure that you're doing business appropriately and
Yeah.
legally. And
Yeah.
so when they are doing an audit, your auditors are going to be asking, in addition to your accounting, a printout of your P&Ls and your balance sheets and all your financial reports, they're going to also be asking you for those documents that Gilbert actually outlined there. Monique says, how to look up to see if an organization is an S corp or a C corp. Where do they go,
Good,
Gilbert?
good question, Monique. Good question. So, if you're operating your corporation within the state of California, then you want to go to the Secretary of State's website. And if you don't know what that URL is, just go to Google and type Secretary of State, California Secretary of State. And then, bam, it will show you the link, right? Or you can go to www.sos. SOS means Secretary of State, sos.gov. No, I'm sorry. sos.ca.gov. So that's how you get to that website. Now, once you get to that website, then you're going to go to search business entity. You're going to click that button that's on the side, the left-hand side that says search business entity. You click on that, and then you type the name of the business that you're searching to see if it's a corporation. Now, if that shows up when you go to corporate, when you type the name of the business, it will show up whether it's an S corp, a C corp, or an LLC. It will show up that way. So that's how you know. So when I'm conducting business with a client and I want to find out about their corporation or their LLC, I just take their name and I put it in the Secretary of State site and I search. And when I search, thank you, Linda. Linda Sam just put up the link in the URL link in there. www.sos.ca.gov. Right. So that's how I find out if a company is legitimately registered and if they're active or they've been suspended. I go to the website, the California Secretary of State site, and I put the company's name in the search entity. And then if the name comes up, it will say whether the company is active, it's suspended, or it's debarred. So you need to know that. Now, if you owe money, if you owe your $800, right? The Secretary of State, they will suspend your entity. They'll suspend it. That means you're not authorized to conduct business in the state of California until you pay that outstanding money. Now, some people ignore it and they still conduct business. So when you're out there taking money from clients and you've been suspended, the state could come in and they could fine you. They could shut you down. They can fine you. They can even imprison you if they want because you're taking money under false pretense. So keep that in mind. And on the website, it will say F. Thank you, Linda. Linda is my amazing assistant. I love her. Love you, Linda. so so when you go to that site, you'll see F as in Frank, T as in Tom, B as in boy. FTB suspended. So that means your company has been suspended because you didn't renew your maintenance fee, you didn't pay your $800. And usually the first year they don't suspend you. They'll let it accumulate to like 3-4 years. You owe like $3,000-$4,000 and then they jack you. So keep that in mind, guys. We want you to be responsible businesses that comply.
At
Okay.
least Linda said, ask me how I know.
We know how you know, Linda. You went to Small Biz Pro, didn't you? That's how you know, right?
So the next entity, I think we've cleared that up. So and there's Small Biz Pro right there, guys. You can always Gilbert will give you a great little tip.
Yeah. And
On
and
he can
and
give you a discount if you sign up today, but it is a great tool in order to
yes.
maintain the status and to stay on top of the status of your business.
And you guys can register at Small Biz Pro for free, and I'll put the link in the chat. So you can register for 10 days to try it out and see how it works, which you're gonna love. And then, if you want after that, just let me know you were watching the show today, the business on the business zone, and I'll give you guys a discount. I'll give you guys 50%. I'll give you 50% off. So you guys can check it out and see how beneficial it is to you. Okay.
Awesome, awesome. So that next entity is nonprofits.
Yes.
So nonprofits mean different things to different people. I am always pretty surprised when people feel that it's easier to run a nonprofit than it is to run a for-profit. Trust me, that is nowhere near true. Take my word for it. That is nowhere near true. And then one of the reasons is because your nonprofit organization is set up to serve and to provide services for other entities. Nonprofit means that the business doesn't make it is a business. Let me state that first and foremost. It is a business and it should be
Yeah.
run like a business.
Yeah.
However, you don't own this business. The state in which you organize the nonprofit in, they're the owners of the business. So you
That's
can't
right.
do whatever you want when you want because you're not the owner. And you, as the executive director or CEO of the own of the business, the fiduciary responsibility lies with your board of directors. So it's very important to choose and select board of directors that are going to be there to help you run your organization. I know in the beginning you take everybody, the dog catcher down the street, the aunt that's 95 years old don't have a clue because you're organizing your nonprofit. But when you actually are running that nonprofit and looking for funding to run that nonprofit, your board of directors are there to help you. So just be very, very clear about that. But you are not the owner, and you literally can be ousted from your nonprofit if you are not running it properly.
That means they can kick you out, guys. They can, even though you spend your life, blood, sweat, and tears to form that nonprofit. That board, if they don't agree with the direction in which you're going, they can kick you out of that. And
They can
you.
kick you out. They will kick you out. So you want to make sure Veronica said, and Monique is laughing. Veronica said, "I like to have a person help me with my paperwork for Small Biz Pro. Do you have an individual I can pay to do my paperwork for me on my behalf? I don't like doing paperwork and do not mind paying someone to do it for me." Oh,
Veronica, since you are one of ours, you're one of our clients. Here's what I'll do: make an appointment with me, and I'll go through it with you, and I'll help you. I'll help you. You don't have to worry about paying me on this. I'll help you because you're a long time client of ours. So just set up an appointment with me, and I'll hook you up with your paperwork. I'll make sure you're current and on top of your game. Okay. All right.
so people see nonprofits and tax exempt organizations as interchangeable, but there are different types of nonprofits that the Congress has created. Some of them are the 501c4. This is for social welfare organizations, home ownership associations, and volunteer fire companies.
Mm-hmm.
501c5 is which includes labor unions.
Mm-hmm.
501c6 includes Chamber of Commerce.
Mm-hmm.
501c K are child care organizations. Each entity, there's certain conditions that must be met to be exempt from paying federal income taxes. The most common
Right.
condition is not paying taxes, not paying out profits. So the other one is the 501c3. So this is the most common one. These are public charities known as charitable organizations and private foundations. And the tax code considers churches, religious organizations, which the IRS defines, which are mosques, synagogues, anything that's a religious, and then of course are those of us that have public charities. You can raise money. Each one of those entities have different requirements and restrictions on how you acquire funds and support for your business, whether through donations or contributions. Generally, if you are 501c3, you're the person that's contributing to your organization or donors for your organization. They get a tax write-off for that organization. You too have to have your compliance in order. You have to make sure you have your articles and and you've submitted all the documents, the state documents that you're or organized your nonprofit in, which is your articles and bylaws, as well as the federal document, which makes you a literal federally organization that is eligible to receive donations for your organization. So you want to make sure you're in compliance. In the state of California, you do have to file your taxes in May, and those are your 990s as well as your 199N in the state of California, and depending on how much your revenues are, it determines on which one you will be filing. So you'll have to file both of them, but in the state of California, you can do the 199N, and it's a short form, and there's also a short 990 EZ if you're under I think it's $100,000, but once you get over above that, then
I think it's 50,000.
50,000. Okay,
Yeah.
50,000. So then you have to then at that point you have to have a 990, and your taxes are due in May. And that keeps you in good standing, and every 2 years you have to file your statement of information. Very, very important. They will also suspend your company if you
Yeah.
haven't done that, which is
Yeah.
outlining who is running the company, who is running the nonprofit, who your board members are, and who your officers are. Um,
Yes.
so those are the entities. Nonprofits, because I deal with a lot of nonprofits, most of them are not run properly. Um, and you really quite don't understand why you have them. But I will tell you, and as I said at the beginning of this, nonprofits are not an easy way to run a business. Just
Right.
because you think that's the easiest way that you can get money, trust me, going out looking for support and for your business is not easy. Let me
No.
tell you.
And the one thing I want to add to that, co-host, about this nonprofit, there are a lot of folks who form nonprofits because they felt like, that's the way to go, and that's an easy way to obtain funds. Now, I want to step back a little bit. Now, my co-host listed you a list of different structures, right, in the nonprofit sphere. It talk about 501c3, to talk about 501c4, C6, and all those different structures. Each one represent a different type of entity. If you're a chamber, if you're fundraising, you're a politician, they're different structure. Now, a lot of people, when they talk about nonprofit, they say, "Oh yeah, I want to form a 501c3," but they're not really sure what they're going to be doing. You need to know what you're going to be doing first before you figure out which one of those structures apply to you. A 501c3 is not all for all nonprofit. You know, it serves a certain purpose. If you're doing fundraising and certain things, you want to know exactly. So when Crystal mentioned those structures, guys, you need to listen. And this video that's playing, it's on YouTube and it's going to be there for a while. Just go back to this video, replay the video, and listen to what she says about those different structures and see if it applies to your type of nonprofit. The next thing is many nonprofits do not have their paperwork in order. They do not have the proper structure set up. And as a result, they're not in compliance. So I just put a link in the chat for you guys, right? It says, take a nonprofit assessment at this number, at this link, this URL. You click that link and you go to our URL at Small Biz Pro and you answer the questions there, and it will tell you whether or not your nonprofit is ready or not. When you take the assessment, it's going to give you a score. And if your score is less than 100%, then you're not ready. So then it's incumbent upon you to either meet with Coach Crystal or myself, or you can meet with a specialist who understand nonprofits to let you know what you need to do to get those documentation and paperwork in order. Because many of you, when you apply for your nonprofit waiver, you apply to the federal government, to the IRS, but you forget about the state. You forget that you need to apply to the state. All right. So you get a waiver from the IRS, you get a waiver from the state, and you take that waiver to the city in which you operate. Instead of getting a business license, you take it to the city and said, I'm a nonprofit, and I don't need to have a business license. That waiver, the city will give you a waiver. That means you don't have to have a business license. Many of you guys don't know that, and you're operating not knowing that you should have a waiver not to have a business license. And if you don't have the waiver, then you got to pay for that business license. So keep that in mind, guys. These are critical things we're sharing
Those
with
are
you.
very critical things. And there is a new animal on the in the same platform, and it's it's called a hybrid or a social enterprise, where an
Yes.
organization has the opportunity to create. They have a for-profit arm to their business, and they have a nonprofit. The nonprofit arm is providing social service, has a social mission attached to it. Some of the familiar ones to some of you may be Homeboys Bakery, which actually is a nonprofit organization that provides training and for those individuals, those troubled youth. But at the same time, they have a for-profit, which is a bakery, and they actually is an apprentice program. They teach them how to become bakers, and they teach them how, and they actually work for the entity, and the entity is making profit in order to fund its own nonprofit. Basically, not looking for
Exactly.
outside support, is actually contained within. The other one is another one is out of the closet, which is a
Oh, I've heard of that one.
yeah,
Yeah.
so out of the closet is a kind of like a Goodwill, in the sense you bring and donate
Yeah. Right.
clothes and furniture. It's it was actually constructed during when we had the epidemic of AIDS, and
Yeah.
they didn't necessarily want to be a nonprofit because they didn't want anyone to govern how and do and say what they needed to do. So they
Yeah.
actually created a entity that raises money on its own, and then it supports the population, its social mission, which is to
Oh,
help
that
youth.
that was the reason they formed it. I didn't know
Uh-huh.
that. I
Yeah,
did
that was the
not
reason
know
they
that.
formed it. Because,
Wow.
at the time, there was a lot of stigma that went along
Yeah.
with it. So they don't want to limit their opportunities. So that's why they did that. So those are some of the entities. So in today's world, when a lot of us are social minded, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it's very difficult to find sponsorship for your organizations. A lot of the corporations are not all that warm and fuzzy as they
Yeah.
used to be, right? And
Right.
so
Right.
they've limited, their foundations have limited the amount of money that they're providing to the nonprofits, and the nonprofits can't operate without funding.
Yeah.
So this, sometimes this is a better entity for you, so that you can have a retail entity that is that it can earn profits that you then can support your own program. And most nonprofits, um, and your sponsors or donors want you to raise money from other sources besides just themselves. They don't want to
Right.
be the one that is providing. They really truly don't want to provide more than 25% to your operating budget. And
Right.
so that, and most nonprofits, if you have a big mission and you're really trying to serve and service people like homelessness or whatever, it takes a lot of money to do that. So
Yeah.
that's a thought process for those of you. Instead of just going into a nonprofit, look at maybe the opportunity of having a hybrid type of entity, a social enterprise entity that will help, that can benefit the cause that you're working on, whatever your organization is.
And when you have that hybrid entity, which is a social enterprise, you also receive tax credit for that too. Now, some of you might be wondering, how do I form one of these types of social enterprises and corporate entity? Well, the county of Los Angeles, they have a department there that allows for certification for one of those, for a corporate enterprise, a social enterprise. So you may want to look into that with the county. Also with the state, you can check with the state to see how they have this new structure called a B enterprise, a B corporation or a B enterprise. That's a hybrid. That's a corporate entity where one side is for profit, the other side is nonprofit. So they come together. So let's say for example, I'm selling socks. So I'm manufacturing and selling socks. That's a for-profit entity. But if I'm donating some of the socks to homeless people and other folks who are less fortunate, then that's the social enterprise side of it. So you see how the business works right there, where you have a
Hmm.
for-profit and a nonprofit. That's what we're talking about there. So you can get that registered and certified with the County of Los Angeles. As a matter of fact, the entity that certifies your social enterprise as a B corporation, it's called B Corporation. I think it's called Laboratories, B Corporation Laboratories. So they can certify that for you. But check with the County of Los Angeles. Go to their website and type B Corporation, and you will see. So that's a good way to do it.
Awesome. And Veronica has a question. Where does MLMs, multi-level marketing platforms, fit in with business licensing LLCs like Homeboy? Can an MLM work like that?
Now, I'll have to check into that for you, Veronica, because MLM, which is multi-level marketing, uh, a lot of folks tend to not treat it with respect, not treat it the way it ought to be treated. So let me check and see how that works in terms of an LLC structure. Or I think if you're selling a product, then you can use that under the MLM structure. But let me check and see for you. I'll do some homework. I'll do some
Yeah,
homework
because
on that.
technically you're selling a product or service, which
Yeah.
then would be a taxable for profit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if there is a social mission arm to it,
Yeah.
uh, you could a defined social arm,
Yeah.
then it possibly. But again, usually MLMs, you're working for and there's a higher
Right.
level, right? So there's
Right.
a higher level. So if that's not their mission, then
Right.
that may be a challenge, even though you may be using it that way.
Hmm.
But the organization of the MLM, the parent company,
Yeah.
uh, would we dictate really what the how the business was set up. and whether it
Right.
was set up as a for-profit versus a nonprofit. So that would be something you would have to look into,
Hmm.
as how that could be like you said, you have to do we would have to do some research on that, Veronica, because technically you don't own the MLM. You have your franchise piece of the MLM, just for a word to use and that's just a word I'm using. There's a You have the piece that you've bought into the franchise of a parent company. So I'm not sure how that works.
Hmm.
So Gilbert will check into that and and let you know. But
Yeah.
because that's a different kind of animal. You didn't If you're not the founder
Yeah.
of that organization, then you didn't set the purpose and the business model for that business.
Yeah.
You actually were brought in to a tier of that organization.
Right.
Yeah, so but there's not to say that you couldn't. I know you're thinking of how you do that with your travel business, um with the travel, which is under the MLM, but then I know you do a mission side of it. You have a benefit side that you're supporting a girl. So yeah, something to do some research on. All righty, guys. So we talked about corporate entity. I want you guys to this show is hosted at the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. And please, guys, go over there and hit the subscribe button. We have a goal to get to a thousand subscribers. By May. So we would love for you to help us do that. Um, but you hit the subscribe button, and when soon as we have a show, a podcast that is loaded and goes live and then archived in YouTube, it is there for you for the in perpetuity, actually.
In
So
perpetuity,
perpetuity, you can
like
go
Mr.
watch
Wonderful.
right, in perpetuity. And you also can go find us if you're one of those that love audio podcasts. We are also on all of the podcast channel. This one will be uploaded this evening, so you can find us over there. Um, you can find us over there. Uh, uh,
Oh,
uh,
Veronica says she could help us with her at that 1,000 subscribers. You can really help us with that, Veronica?
all
That
right,
is
Veronica.
great if you
Well, we
can
can
do
definitely
that.
do some coaching with you, girl.
We will do an exchange. I'll do your back office and you help us with the subscribers, okay? I'll help you do your paperwork and all of that. How about that?
Okay, that sounds like a amenable deal to me. Thank you. Happy birthday, Veronica. But yeah, so we just want to make sure you guys are ready. So
Yeah.
this is a new year. And with this new year, we're going to be operating differently than we have been operating in the past. We just want to make sure that everyone whenever an opportunity arises, we want you to be able to take advantage of that opportunity. And the only way we can do that is making sure that we are running our businesses the way we should be running our business. So,
So Veronica, I see you're getting a request in the chat here. Monique would like to get your number as well so she can reach out to you about helping her with her numbers as well. So do you want to put your number in the chat, Veronica, so Monique can have it? And anyone else who can utilize your service to get their numbers, their subscription numbers up?
and I know she has a program with her travel. So, there's some synergy there for everyone. So,
Oh, for sure, for sure.
yeah. So this year we have a new plan that we're going to execute, and we want to make sure you guys are by next year, whatever your goals are for how much revenue you want to earn or you want to earn this year, that you reach those goals. But we also want you to be doing business at the highest level. And
Yes.
the only way to really do that is to make sure that you have a solid structure that you have what you have when you need it. When an opportunity arises, you are ready for that opportunity and not having to get ready. So, yes, Monique, let's go. We're going to be financially free in 2023. I
That's
like it.
right. That's right. And just to recap, guys, we went over the different business entities. We went over the advantages and disadvantages, so you guys can check it out. Also, after the show, you guys can go to YouTube. The video will be there, and you can just copy the link and store that, and you can use that link whenever to go back and review some of the points that we made, like co-host Crystal talked about nonprofits and some of the features and benefits and requirements of that. And I talked about a variety of different things, the S Corp, C Corp, and the documents that you need to run that. So all of those things we talk about. I also put a link in the chat how you can go to Small Biz Pro and register for free for 10 days just to test drive it, see if it's something can help you. In that platform, once you register and you follow the steps, then you can find a lot of contracts in Small Biz Pro. You can also find a lot of grants in there. So there are grants and there are contracts in there, guys, to help you grow your business in 2023. So you want to take me up on this. If you have a nonprofit and you're not quite sure if your nonprofit is in compliance, you take the link that I just gave you right there. You want to go to that Small Biz Pro assessment link that I put in the chat, and you put it in your browser. A questionnaire will come up. You take the questionnaire, answer the questions, and it will tell you, it will ask you if you have certain documents, if you don't have it, and then based on you having those documents, you will know if you're in compliance or not. Now, in Small Biz Pro, if you register as a nonprofit, there are documents, there's tiles in there that can walk you through the process. When it comes to fundraising, when it comes to your bylaws, your policy, a nonprofit business plan, a nonprofit strategic plan, all of those things are in Small Biz Pro, guys. So it will help you to run a much better nonprofit. So, Karimu Clifford, thank you so much for reaching out to us and participating in our program today. Uh, he said he just finished Good Business 101.
He felt like he just finished Good Business 101 because we want to do good business. So we're appreciative and humble to provide you with this information. Gilbert and I, for those of you who know us, we have been very consistent in our messaging to U.S. small businesses. Our mission and purpose for being in the businesses that we are in is to make sure you are operating at the highest level as a business owner. And we want you to be successful. We want you to be financially free, but we want you also to run businesses that are above the radar, and that businesses that are business ready and bank loan ready and contract ready, because there's so many opportunities out there for you. We just have to know and understand. So we take the time. I mean, we are very patient, but sometimes we have to exhibit a little tough love
Yeah,
because we have to help you stay accountable.
that's right.
That's what we're here for. So thank you for joining us. Please go tell all your friends to
Yeah,
check us out.
yeah.
This year, Gilbert and I are celebrating. The Business Zone is celebrating 7 years on
Seven
air.
years,
So
7 years,
we
guys.
want to really push up our numbers. And we want to monetize the channel, so we can continue to do this and you can benefit from it. And there's some other great things that ideas we're going to come up with for this year. But again, our goal is to make sure you guys are the best business owners that you can be. So
So
with that,
here's what we can do for you guys. Since you're listening, some of you found this channel by accident. If you can bring 5 entrepreneurs or 5 small business to this site and have them subscribe to our site, we will give each each one of you, not the five, but you, because you're bringing them, we'll give you 1 hour of free coaching and consulting for your business. Okay. So you bring five of your friends who are entrepreneurs and you have them subscribe because they're going to be getting valuable information every week they come here. Today we did class in session, and every now and again we'll do class in session if we don't have a guest that comes in to tell you guys about other things that can help your business. We'll have class in session, and that class in session alone, just remember what we're teaching here on this program is at the master's level. If you guys went to Pepperdine University or USC or UCLA, that's what you'll be doing at a master's level. This is the type of things we do here. Whether we're doing leadership, we're doing management behavior, we're doing personality profile, whether we're doing certification, accounting, bookkeeping, or we're doing the corporate structure, or any of those things, you're getting it at a leadership management level. So it's an MBA level you guys are getting here. All right, guys? So, I mean, to bring five people is nothing, man, to get this kind of information.
Right, exactly. And between the two of us, we have close to 60 years of knowledge. But we both
Yeah.
have been in business for over 30 years. And so we're providing you with that knowledge to help you run a better business. So
Oh,
just
yes.
again, like I said, this is our mission. This is what we look to do. And this is how we do business. So we're going to sign off because we've been now on for almost 2 hours, just about 2 hours. So we want to thank you guys for joining us, and we want you to come back next week. Next week will still be another class in session, and that class will be on networking and building relationships that will help you grow your business. I'm a big component of that. And then
Yeah.
in the month of February, we're going to do Black History Month, and we're going to have guests. And if anybody wants to be a guest, let us know. Just reach out to us. You can go to our YouTube channel and just put a message in, or LinkedIn. However you want to reach us, Facebook. We will respond to each one of those. And then in month of March, we're going to have women business owners. Those will be guests. And then in April, we'll have other businesses. So that's going to be at least for the next 4 months. And in there may be a class in session. I probably will do a class in session on tax due dates.
Yeah. There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah.
important.
Definite. And those of you who want to do business in a foreign country, this is a nice platform for you because we have affiliates and we have clients in different countries like South Africa. We've got Canada, and we even have folks in Venezuela tune into us. So just so you
Actually,
guys know.
I found the other day, Gilbert, that we have people that are in the Netherlands watching us.
Really
Yeah,
now?
I looked at our analytics on
Oh,
Facebook,
wow.
and we have
Wow.
definitely in Africa, but in the Netherlands as well, and Brazil and Argentina, a number of places. So
See? So if you guys want to do business cross continental, guys, this is a good way to do it. And we have connections in these areas that, they love us. They've been on our show as guests. They talked about their program and ours and how we can work with them. So just remember, guys, we no longer want to do business within borders. We want to do it outside of the borders. We don't just want to do business in the US. We want to do business in international countries because they are embracing what we have here. So you want to grow your business, man? You want to become millionaires in no time? That's how
yeah.
that's the way to
Yeah, it
go.
has to be outside of the borders. All
Yes.
righty. So, Gilbert, we're going to sign off. We're going to wish you guys a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And we're going to wish Miss Veronica a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Veronica.
Enjoy your birthday, my dear. You deserve it. And with that, we are
Eh,
going to sign off. You are
That's right.
tuned into the Business Zone with Gilbert, Crystal, and Gilbert. We are here every Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, providing you with amazing information that can help you information and tools and motivation to help you grow your business. So check us out. Come back next week and bring a friend.
Bring 5 friends.
Bring
5 of them.
But better yet, take those 5 friends over to our YouTube channel and subscribe. So
That's
with
right.
that, Miss Gilbert, we are out.
We are out.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an